Don't forget to use your mics when you're talking and turn them on. I know. That was a reminder from the tech.
Okay, so you're going to alter it. Yeah. Sounds Oh, we should. Yeah.
Back there, Jackie.
You're really. Yes. Upstairs.
You're having an excellent.
Thank you. Okay.
Sure. After the meeting.
Sorry to hear that.
Is there any difference?
Okay, it's that time. I call to meeting the December 17th Town Board meeting, business meeting for the month, and first order is to stand and pledge the flag. Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Laura, you wanted to just make a quick thank you, I believe?
Sure. I think we're on. Anyway, the STR, people know that we had the STR survey going on until this past Sunday, and we had 524 responses. So I just want
Wow.
to say thank you so
Good
much.
turnout.
Yeah, thank you so much to everybody who spread the word, and thank you so much to everybody who took the survey. So we're digesting the information. We don't have, the answers are in a big file, but we haven't digested what it's telling us yet. But a great thank you to everybody who helped get the word out and to take the survey.
Fantastic. Thank you, Laura. Okay, I'm going to go right into resolutions. Be it resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on November 19th and December 10th, 2024.
Discussion real quick.
Real quick.
Jackie, if you can, and I'll send you an email about this.
Actually,
was-
did you second first?
Second.
Okay.
November 19th, where you have public be heard, Alan Weber. You put equal rights where it should actually read human rights resolution, but I'll send you an email about that. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second, for the purpose of discussion.
Yes, discuss.
Under the category of total trust and agency, there is a listing for OSC Cemetery in the amount of $51,503.29. It is. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
It's the grant
Cemetery.
money
Oh,
from the cemetery.
Yes, okay, so back when we took over the cemetery, the states give out grants, and we were lucky enough to get, it was $206,000 or $208,000. So that was just wrapping it up. It took a long time. COVID slowed things down. It slowed things down for us getting done, but we've finalized everything, and I believe we got pretty close to the 206,000. I think a few of the items came in a little less than what the bids were, and they weren't going to pay us the additional. So, but we got everything covered. So that was nice to finish that up.
Well, financially covered, but also done. I think,
Done.
right?
Can
A nice improvement to the cemetery in different spots.
Yeah. Thank you.
And the tree committee planted trees.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff.
Yeah, they were in the cemetery.
Okay, thank you.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Be resolved to authorize payment of vouchers in the amount of $286,127.34.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Be it resolved to authorize the highway superintendent and the town supervisor to sign the shared service agreement between New York State DOT and the town of Woodstock.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this is just the same agreement that we've been signing with them for years. It just expired, so we're updating those. Be it resolved to actually technically hire Caitlin Hoban up to 90-day full-time temporary police officer effective December 17th, 2024 at an hourly rate of $29.13.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Be resolved to hire Carl Anderson for up to 90-day full-time temporary police officer effective December 17th, 2024 at an hourly rate of $29.13. All in favor? Aye. I want to thank both those officers. They're doing a great job. The reason that it's temporary is because for police officers, we do have to hire off a list, and there is no present list. So that's why it's for that short time. And hopefully next time the list comes out, they're both on it. Be resolved that effective January 1st, 2025, this fee structure for short-term rentals, STRs, the town of Woodstock shall be as follows. One, home owner occupied in-home STRs, $250 per year for first bedroom, $25 for each additional bedroom. Two, owner occupied STR with an accessory dwelling unit, $350 per year for first bedroom, $25 for each additional bedroom. Three, non-owner occupied STR, $450 per year for first bedroom, $25 for each additional bedroom.
Second.
I'll give it to you. But, no, I was-
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Second, for the purpose of discussion.
Discuss.
So this is an item that I worked on very hard with some folks in the community. The intention of this was to help people who live here to afford to stay here. In many cases, they're seniors, they're renting out a room in their home, and the fee was very challenging for them. That said, what I'd like to do is open this up for public discussion over the next 2 weeks and finalize a vote on this in our January organizational meeting.
Okay, I'll table this motion. And so it's out there. It will be on the organizational meeting January 2nd. You can
I
second
can
it.
second it.
Well, no, it never came up for vote. I think we're fine.
Okay. And so, folks, if you have any comments, feel free to reach out to the town board, and I'll be happy to work with you on that.
I just want to thank Anula for leading the charge on this, and I will certainly be, I'll be looking through it to double check the details, but I really appreciate what Anula's doing on this, so thank you.
Thank you. You know, and I've had multiple conversations with different SDR owners. It's an imperfect fee structure. Ideally, if we could have what amounts to a sales tax based on their income, that would be much fairer. But, thank you to Senator Hinchey for putting such a proposal forward with the state. It did pass both the legislature and the state, and the governor, as far as I know, still has not signed it. I think she's got a couple of weeks and then it dies. So, whereas New York State Department of Environmental Conservation requires amendments to our sewer code with regard to sewer extensions, therefore be it resolved, the Woodstock Town Board schedule a public hearing for amendments to Town Code Chapter 245 wastewater districts for January 14th, 2025 at 7:05 PM. Town offices, 45 Como Drive, Woodstock, New York, and be it further resolved to authorize the town clerk to post notice in the town's official newspaper.
Second.
Second for discussion.
Sure.
Could you elaborate on the amendments to the sewer code?
The biggest I shouldn't say that. There are a number of things we updated with regard to how the system is designed. I did send this document to you guys back in October. But the biggest change is that any addition to the sewer system that is over 2,500 gallons per daily use would get approved by New York State DEC, which is the code now. It wasn't spelled out. So they're going through the entire state, looking at municipal codes and asking for these changes so that it specifically requires that. And Larry Allen would be happy to go over any of the other things.
Okay, great.
You're welcome. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Be resolved to appoint Catherine Carberry to the Cemetery Committee effective December 17th, 2024 until and term to expire 12/31/25. All in favor? Aye.
I have a resolution.
I have two more, actually. Be it resolved to authorize, this one came in late. Actually, I didn't even get this, this document yet, but it's the same as last year. For some reason, it's being blocked on my computer. This is from the Sheriff's Department and has to do with the DWI agreement with the county. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor and the police chief to sign the 2025 DWI resolution with the county. All in favor? Aye. Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign the Tree City application renewal. All in favor? Aye.
Here's the resolution that I have. Just take one and pass it down, maybe.
Oh, it's a long one.
So it begins. Whereas the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, NYSDEC, found that construction and demolition debris on Joe Carolus' property on Route 212, Saugerties, New York, contained known cancer-causing chemical compounds. Whereas in court transcripts from the Town of Shandaken, New York Justice Court, Vincent Canigliaro, the owner of 10 Church Road, Woodstock, New York, and Gina Canigliaro and Joe Carolus stated under oath that said construction and demolition debris was delivered to 10 Church Road, Woodstock, New York, from Carolus' property in Saugerties, New York, during 2019 and 2020. Whereas Joe Carolus and Gina Canigliaro pled guilty to and were convicted of violating Woodstock's solid waste law in Shandaken Court in 2022. Whereas a site comprised of dumped, contaminated construction and demolition debris is a dump and violates the Town of Woodstock zoning code section 260-49. Whereas the illegal 10 Church Road dump owned by Vincent Canigliaro contaminated the private well of a neighbor, Pam and Frank Amy. Whereas the illegal 10 Church Road dump is located directly above an aquifer and within the bounds of the Town of Woodstock aquifer, which supplies Woodstock, New York with its municipal water. Whereas a chemical compound, PFOS, found to cause cancer, has been detected in the Town of Woodstock's municipal water supply since 2022. Whereas in addition to the detection of PFOS, other harmful contaminants have been detected on the 10 Church Road site. Whereas the health and safety of Woodstock's water is essential to the town of Woodstock and the town of Woodstock law, section 26049, prohibits private dumps of any kind in Woodstock, New York. Whereas two town board members, Maria Elena Conti and Bennett Ratcliffe, have called for the removal of all the construction and demolition debris at the illegal 10 Church Road dump since 2022. Whereas the Woodstock Environmental Commission, led by Chair Alex Bolito, and the Woodstock Human Rights Commission, led by Chair Salvador Altamirano Segura, advised the town board in 2022 and 2023 in written statements to remove all the contaminated construction and demolition debris from the illegal 10 Church Road dump. Whereas previous town board members, Lauren Rose, Richard Hepner, and Reginald Earls recognized the critical importance of removing the said debris with expert remediation according to professional direction. Whereas the state Supreme Court annulled and vacated the town permit used in the Plan E attempt by the property owner to remediate 10 Church Road by removing only 4 truckloads of debris from the property, whereas the remaining contaminated construction and demolition debris dumped at 10 Church Road in 2019 and 2020 has not been completely removed and remains on the 10 Church Road property, which sits directly over an aquifer, whereas Supervisor Bill McKenna, on his official letterhead, dated July 12, 2024, and signed by Woodstock Town Board member Anula Cordes and the non-appointed acting WEC chair at the time, Aaron Moran, wrote to the New York State Attorney General that, quote, "We believe that the recent decision of the New York State DEC versus Carolus should have included the 10 Church Road, Woodstock, New York property as material was brought in from Saugerty's site in question. There is a clear paper trail confirming this. In addition to the potential impact to the immediate neighborhood's aquifer, there is the potential impact to the town's aquifer," end quote. Whereas council member Anula Cordes also wrote in an official email to the Office of the Attorney General's Associate Director of Legislative Affairs that there is now, quote, "There is now proof that the debris in whole is toxic, not just the big pieces, all the small pieces. The property sits on our town aquifer," end quote. Whereas the state Supreme Court affirmed that New York State law provides a municipal supervisor with the discretion to enforce zoning codes, whereas such discretion should never be used in a manner to jeopardize the safety and health of citizens of a municipality. Whereas ongoing PFOS tests of the municipal water system continue to show PFOS in the drinking water. Whereas the town of Woodstock has the responsibility to uphold the New York State Constitution, which considers clean water to be a human right. Be it resolved that the town of Woodstock will immediately enforce all applicable zoning laws and solid waste laws regarding 10 Church Road and immediately begin the necessary legal process required to remediate the illegal dump site at 10 Church Road.
I'd like to second that.
I make a motion to table this until we've heard back from the Attorney General on this matter.
Second.
All in favor of tabling?
No.
No.
Aye. Okay, so we'll wait and see what the Attorney General has to say. We can-
The
Yeah,
Attorney
they bring
General
this
already
back.
sent the letter and said what they were going to say.
No, they said they'd be back in touch.
No,
with
they
us.
did
Actually,
not.
actually, the Attorney General sent a letter that I'm happy to post and share that says that they are further investigating this
Mhm.
and they're looking about like how they're going to bring Woodstock into this matter.
They did not say they were looking at how they were going to bring Woodstock into this matter.
That was my
It is.
interpretation. You have
that
the
is
same,
not what-
we
that is
can
not
talk
what it
about
said.
this.
Right.
We can talk about this, but we got a response, what was it, about a couple of weeks ago from them? It's not a dead matter. It's an active matter.
We don't need to wait for the
One at a
Attorney
time.
Well,
General.
and just as a reminder,
Okay, one at a time.
okay, as people know, because we've had other meetings where I've talked about, I am part of the Drinking Water Source Protection Program, where I am working with people in New York State, also Arlene Weissman and Julia Blelock. So we're working together with the state of New York, and the focus is Woodstock's drinking water and the aquifers and water sources that feed the Woodstock drinking water. And so they are experts on the matter. So they're also going to be weighing in on how safe is our water and what is the track of, we have this stuff sitting at 10 Church Road. What is the track in terms of how long will it take it to get into the aquifer itself? How long could it take to get to the wells? Is it realistic to say what is left there is the reason for what's in the drinking water? They're aware of the drinking water findings. So that activity is going on very heavily.
The
So we don't
longer the town waits, that's right. The longer the town waits, people are going to start getting sick.
Okay,
It's our responsibility to clean it up.
thank you. Jackie? Public be heard? Carol? I know you'll do your best, Carol. Carol, if you take this, oh, yes, give it that one.
Light on it too.
Okay, hold it up. You're on.
I'm on. Okay. Remember when Woodstock was associated with the words peace, love, and music? You all remember that, right? Okay. For convenience, we can keep those first letters in the words, but now it seems more like politics, lawsuits, and mayhem are appropriate. And it's very disturbing to me. I'm going to refer primarily to the police department matter and the lawsuits and the craziness that's going on with that. And I want to just state absolutely emphatically, guilt or innocence is totally irrelevant at this point. I can't speak to that. None of you can speak to that. Nobody's name is on any of the papers. Okay. What happened when the incidents were reported, Officer Sinagra was suspended with pay for over a year, and the specific allegations languished. Nothing was done apparently, but there's behind the scenes things, of course. Cost to the taxpayers probably $34,000. Inaction, or seemed like inaction, prompted the filing of a lawsuit in federal court for $500,000, and that was filed on June 13th, 2024. Presumably, everybody on the town board knew about the lawsuit and everything that was going on, because the first article in the newspaper came out in June of 23. Now, it's June 7th specifically. New York State town law specifically says charges shall not be brought more than 40 days after the time the facts upon which such charges are based are known to the town board. But the official town of Woodstock notice was not served or is not written until September 16th, 2024, and served on Officer Sinagra on the 21st of that September. The first of the 5 charges cited occurred way back March 23rd, 2023. It seems to me that, regardless, again, guilty or not, his rights were violated according to New York state law, because that 60-day thing was not followed. I mean, it was like a year. And I'm concerned as a taxpayer that this could very likely be grounds for yet another lawsuit. I mean, how many? I don't know how many we're up to now.
15
Too
seconds,
many.
Carol.
What?
15 seconds.
I have 15 seconds?
You're at 3 minutes.
Oh, well, all right. Well, anyway, people keep getting answers. Personnel matters are confidential. It's in litigation, blah, blah, blah. What concerns me is the incongruency of the actions of the 2 town board members that seem to vote with Bill all the time. I hear things, or I read things in the paper. I'm following in the footsteps of so many strong women, and I will do everything that I can to help those who are a generation or 2 behind me. and you have a little more experience in politics. You agree with things, but you think that we need to pay attention to the laws of the land. How can you say those things and yet it seems like your behavior doesn't match up? I don't know any strong women that would support this nonsense.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. Okay, and don't
Jackie?
forget now, he needs to have the town.
You can take that one. You want to stay on that side? Okay.
Hi. So first, I want to sincerely thank the board and all of the town staff members for the work they put in every day to keep the gears of our town running. And just know how appreciative I am. It's hard work. It's not easy. It gets really stressful. This is also just directed to the general community, as also it's kind of to everybody. At last week's board meeting, in discussion of creation and allocation of funds for our new housing capital fund and artist trust, both board member Ratcliffe and the supervisor told each other to reread the comprehensive plan in disagreement over the plan's stated most important issues after proposed amendment by board member Ratcliffe. You should reread it. You're wrong. You'd know that if you read it, were some of the words used and in that tone. I have to admit, I was a little disappointed. It's important to note that the comprehensive plan in its 58 pages lists several bulleted most important issues. I've read it. I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on it, but I have read it. To board member Ratcliffe's point, promoting the arts and entertainment this community is known for is vital for maintaining and improving its economic health. To Supervisor McKenna's point, the plan also states the immense need for appropriate housing for our seniors, for young people and young families, and for our artists. In actuality, these issues are incredibly related, and I think we all know that, and the plan itself notes this. I deeply thank the board for creating the Artist Trust and Housing Capital Fund to address these issues and to allocate funding prior to the end of the year. This timing was extremely important, and so I just want to make it clear that I'm very thankful. I understand that it might seem like I'm making a mountain out of an anthill, but I do think it points to larger issues, that sharp commentary towards each other in this way detracts from efficiency, escalates tension, and it's a misuse of public time. We have more that unites us than divides us. There's enough that folks are tense about. I know many members of the public are frustrated regarding a lack of accountability for updating meeting minutes for most of the committees, commissions, and boards listed on the town website. Of the 10 listed, only 3 have been regularly updated. On several Woodstock community pages moderated by private citizens, of which many members of the board are a part, frustration in this capacity is obvious. Recently, there was expressed frustration at a lack of knowledge regarding the timing of the latest water testing. I have heard and I know that the supervisor did confirm that testing has happened extremely recently. So it seems to me that a good portion of this tension comes from misunderstanding, a lack of clear communication, and forgetting our larger goals and aspirations as a community in favor of immediate gratification. Larger, healthy civic engagement by private citizens is needed. And it's true that we as individuals need to be responsible for being informed. But these are issues that we're all complicit in some capacity. My first ask is that all of our committees, commissions, boards, and yes, even our task forces, despite non-mandatory expected public outreach, consider consistently and transparently communicating to the public as much as they're able. I understand not all information can be shared. I understand the board, can't control everybody's behavior. And I understand that these things get really difficult, but I think updated minutes is a good starting point. I also ask that our leadership in all capacities set the example for how to appropriately and gracefully communicate with each other. None of us are perfect, but we all have a responsibility to each other to try our best, even in the hard moments. And I know that we do that, but just so that we can all keep that at the forefront of our minds, I thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what was your first name? Anna. Anna, thank you very much.
Great. Hope everybody can hear. Stop. Get out of the car. Hands behind your head. Get down on your knees. You're coming with us. These are just a handful of commands police can use to control our bodies, our liberty, our lives. That is why it's critical that any police officer be someone who is moral, someone who obeys and respects the limits of the law, who does not abuse the public and does not abuse his power. Unfortunately, we have such an officer who does not meet these requirements in the person of Phil Sinagra. I won't go into the truly despicable allegations against him. We are all aware of the disgusting specific allegations of racial and sexual abuse against his own colleagues, creating a discriminatory and hostile work environment. And he treats the fellow officers, if he treats the fellow officers that way, you can imagine his treatment of civilians over whom he wields enormous power simply by being an officer. When this kind of officer is uncovered, especially when they are uncovered in a rare, almost unheard of fashion, found out due to the complaints of multiple police officers who were willing to cross the blue line, the answer as to what this town should do is very simple and very clear. This town board and you, Bill, should have taken the necessary steps to fire him. When these allegations first came to light years ago, it was not enough to pay him to sit on a couch and do nothing else. You should have acted, and you must act now. You have invited him back, perhaps to quiet the complaints of those who say he should not be paid for doing nothing. But bringing him back, even in a limited capacity, is not the answer. You must right your wrong and conduct a hearing to determine if the evidence provides reasonable cause for him to be fired, and it clearly does. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jackie.
Stephanie Kaplan.
Bill, you've said you're relying on Town Code Section 162, which you say precludes you holding such a hearing, a disciplinary hearing against Sinagra, and precludes him being fired at this point. You couldn't be more wrong. I have scoured that section. There is absolutely nothing there that precludes these actions. I can only come up with a single very troubling reason why you failed to conduct this kind of disciplinary hearing thus far. And that is because the town is named in the lawsuit. But in failing to admit our town's failure to adequately address this rogue officer, in failing to conduct the required hearing, which would surely result in his dismissal, you have put the legal woes which you have invited in the first place over the safety of the residents of our town and of the very police officers who are now once again subjected to Sinagra and his vile, unacceptable conduct and way of thinking, for which Chief Keefe is also accountable as well and should also be fired. Having investigated this over the past few days, it's clear that he has not changed. He is still intimidating fellow police employees, still does not know right from wrong, whether it's because he enjoys intimidating others or because he's simply incapable of understanding what acceptable codes of conduct are. That's really immaterial. He's bad and he's a dangerous egg and needs to be gone from the Woodstock Police Department. I've also heard he has appeared in uniform. He has not limited his presence to the town offices here, and that despite you keeping his Woodstock service weapon from him, he has been seen on at least one occasion carrying a weapon, presumably a personal one, on at least one occasion. Bennett and Maria Elaine have called for a disciplinary hearing for over a year. And whether you, Laura, and Anula simply won't agree with their proposals because of some childish notion that you won't agree with anything these two propose, or because of the lawsuit, or both, it's simply unacceptable. Holding this hearing should be a unanimous decision of this board, and Section 162 does not bar this action. Bill, I got to say, you screwed up the response way back when you did the investigation. It was before the EEOC complaint came out. You saw there were more allegations in the EEOC than that which you uncovered during your own investigation. And based on the new uncovered allegations, you could have easily settled any complaint. All people wanted at that point was for him to be gone. But now there's a federal lawsuit and you're dug in, and this fight it at all costs, put us in a situation that is untenable. You got to bite the bullet, settle the civil lawsuits, and conduct the hearing now. And lastly, I really want to address Laura and Anula in particular. And Anula, you profess to be concerned about women's rights. You are on the police reform committee for Woodstock that was supposed to establish rules that would prevent this kind of conduct and assist in dealing with an officer who acted contrary to these rules. How could you in particular think it's okay to allow Sinagra back, to allow him to continue as a Woodstock police officer, and to allow a hearing to not have occurred yet? You must vote with Bennett and Maria Elena. You too, Laura. You put your politics aside and do what you always said was the right thing to do. Hold the damn hearing, get rid of this danger to women and to people of color and to his fellow officers, and frankly, to everyone in Woodstock. Fire Sinagra now and then get a new chief.
Thank you. Let me take 1 minute to respond to that because you've misquoted me. You have misquoted me. Never did I say that we couldn't have a hearing. I have stated we have to have a hearing in order to fire him. And that's what I told you the other day. So you've totally taken what I've said out of context. Jackie?
I'd like to take 30 seconds. Stephanie Kaplan, I don't know where you got your information from. You are flat out wrong This entire town board is unified. And if one or two town board members are telling you something else, I'd like for them to speak up now. You haven't been. You haven't been. Trust me, you haven't been. You haven't
I'd
been.
I'd like to respond to that.
Bennett.
This town board
Bennett,
is
are
not
we all in
unified.
favor of a
This
hearing?
town
or
board
are
is
we
not unified. Absolutely not. You are not correct.
You're talking out of school. You're talking inappropriately. It's not the first time. We're going to move on. Jackie? Lisa, come on up, Lisa.
Because Bill is the supervisor. That's
Lisa?
the only reason.
Lisa.
Coming around.
Bloody hell.
Okay, you're on.
I don't know what to say to all of this. I'm so overwhelmed. There are so many issues in this town. There's so much corruption on this town board over and over and over and over again. We're all like sitting in our mud up to, I'm using mud as a nice word, up to our chin. This is ridiculous. If you see how unhappy your constituents are, and over again, thank you. I mean, you don't do anything about anything a lot of the time. And so, there's no women's locker room. Isn't that part of the problem in the first place at the police station, that there's no women's locker room? It's one thing. The water, is tabling slowing it down even further to table instead of do the other thing? Is that accurate? The tabling is going to slow this down even more? Yes, okay. So this water, I'm wondering, are you on town water, Bill McKenna?
I drink it here.
And are you on town water, Laura Ricky?
I live next door to Roach Fund. I use bottled water.
Bottled water.
I live next door to Roach Fund. You may recall in the 80s, Roach Fund had contaminated wells nearby. I've been drinking bottled water ever since.
Wow. There is a type of filter.
didn't
I've
say I
mentioned it
did.
before. I looked it up. I had the
Misquoting me.
It's called EnviroWave. There's a very good filter that's carbon block. I don't know if we'll take out what you have, Laura, but it saves you a lot of money. You first get the filter and it pays itself off after shipping. You don't have to use the plastic bottles. The water quality is much better. However, I don't know your exact issue. Okay, so again, I'm overwhelmed. I think I am too chicken to sing the King song, but
Oh, come on.
well, okay, yeah. See, there's the part I like about you.
Go.
Okay. When I was small, I believed in Santa Claus, though I knew it was my dad. And I would hang up my stockings at Christmas, open my presents, and I'd be glad. But the last time I played Father Christmas, I stood outside a department store. A gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor and said, Father Christmas, give us your money. We got no time for your silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boys. See, I can't. Oh, wait, at least I tried. This is not a musical thing. That's very kind and generous of you. I do not do Ray Davies any justice. That's the Kinks. All right. So there are a lot of issues. I really can't even speak to them. Overwhelmed totally
Okay.
being here, of all the ridiculousness that goes on. But really, Bill McKenna in particular, you need to listen more. There's so much that you're getting so defensive about at this point because everyone's coming at you, but a lot of it's legitimate.
Okay.
Okay?
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you for that beautiful rendition.
Michael Mulvey.
Oh, Michael, do you have your guitar?
I don't want to upstage anybody else.
Okay.
Not that I ever could.
You're a gentleman.
He's a musician here. I think he could upstage me pretty easily.
Give Michael the mic.
I'm the lady here.
It's gonna be a duo.
A duo. And so this is nonsense.
You're on, Michael.
Well, thank you for being here. All
you
of
for
you are
coming.
here. It's been a rough year. We've had a few of them in the last few years. First, I'd like to be thankful and grateful for the fact that we have not had a repeat of the great Christmas tree debacle of 2023, which will go down in history as being one of the symptoms of the way our politics has been handled in the last 4 years. Okay, this is really a new thing. So I want to just be thankful that we don't have that problem to deal with. although the general tenor, as Ms. Womack had pointed out, has not improved over the last year. And that's unfortunate because all it does is obstruct what needs to be done. So hopefully the next year will be better than the last year. Point two,
Amen.
little nitpicking here. You know, I'm scrolling through the town webpage and then I'm looking and I see, please be quiet, don't make any noise. If you're an Airbnb, and then I see a 2018 very egregious sound ordinance. It may mean nothing, but it just signals that the town is still very wrong-headed about where its financial interests lie and how the most of the people survive here. So I'm just bringing attention back to that. Maybe we should be signaling something else if we don't want to rile up the artist community again, because let's face it, nobody will like that. And then the third thing, the last thing is I do want to point to Councilperson Ratcliffe's motion in the spirit of, can we get stuff done instead of just grandstanding? Because that's important. Getting stuff done is important. Grandstanding,
Okay,
getting stuff done
Don't
is
interrupt.
important. And so just to that, I just want to point out that there was a motion on the table here by Supervisor McKenna in 2022 to take the money that we had put aside for other things and use it to start a cleanup to get this ball rolling. And it was obstructed by Councilperson Ratcliffe. It's clear. All you got to do is watch the video. All you've got to do is watch the video.
Stop.
You just got to watch the video. Okay. So just to finish up, because I do want to finish up and wish everybody a happy holiday and a good new year, is that if the intention is to get something done, then the language that's inflammatory in the grandstanding of the motion presentation would be removed. So once again, all I can say is this obviously to me signals the beginning of the 2025 election season. Thank you very much. And I wish you happy holidays.
Sarah Yanosh.
Sorry, I got you three into this.
That's
I hope you do three into this.
take the mic, Sarah. You ready?
That was rough. But that actually, while these folks were being shushed, that actually brings me to a point of the open meetings law and when it is appropriate to be interrupted. People have been interrupted so many times during public be heard this past year, which, yeah, it was rough. They've been interrupted by this board, I have. And it is appropriate to interrupt someone when they're incorrect, but by these folks here, by our board, and there were some incorrect statements that were made there. I understand when the public is shushed. I've been shushed there too. And what Anna was asking politely to happen regarding open meetings law, for minutes to be posted. Some of them haven't been posted since 2020. From Civic Design, a meeting that I've gone to more than once, posted on our calendar as open, occurring with a time that changed yesterday within 24 hours, also another violation of open meetings law, just so many. The doors have been locked, the meeting didn't take place, but how would I know what happened? I was just going there to grab an agenda for the in-person only meeting, only with no minutes for 4+ years before I had to hop on over to Laura Ricky's meeting as she chairs the ZRC, the Zoning Re-envision Commission. And that is Zoom only, while we are required by open meetings law to have a physical location. So we've got a lot going on. I've asked you, please, Bill, to require training for open meetings law. Melissa gave that training February 29th of this year. Linda Lover was there with me. But actually, free the nipple, because I'm pretty pissed off that we have somebody sitting on the second floor of this building. He even has a special space because he has to be contained. He has to have a babysitter. And actually, You misspoke to my neighbor when we were speaking about my neighbor about she didn't say you didn't ask for an employment hearing. She wants it to happen now. And I do too, because I spoke with Melanie. I spoke with your secretary because I feel unsafe and I do not know who to call now if I have an issue.
You can keep calling Melanie.
No, if I have a WPD issue, is Melanie going to hop in a car and go woo woo and come and save me?
For an
Does she have-
emergency, you should call dispatch.
No, I should not.
Okay. We'll call 911.
No, because I do not trust the decisions that Clayton
Yes.
Keefe makes if he doesn't know People versus Santorelli 92. And I can walk with my flappers out.
Okay.
And I
Thank
don't
you.
appreciate
Thank
hearing
you.
the words skull fuck.
Okay.
No, I'm going to say it. It could be skull fuck, Nicollet.
Thank you.
That's disgusting. A racist,
Thank you.
sexist,
Manny, you're up.
predator being paid for by our town. And now I know he doesn't have a gun.
Okay.
That's good to learn
Fanny?
today.
You're up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I know. but- Take the mic. You're on.
So I want to thank the issue that they took the flags off.
Mhm.
I think that was very good decision. That's one thing. Thank you very much. And the other thing is like, I think you should hire somebody to really, to record these these meetings.
It is. We
It is
do.
very important
Yes. they are
because it's
recorded.
much better than what you have there.
Okay.
And we can put it on the TV, on the local access TV, every week, and it can stay there, for the whole week. Otherwise, it's a disservice to the public radio of Woodstock. I think it's important.
Thank you, Fanny. Okay, move to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Good night, folks.